We're going to go ahead and honor your time as we begin our meeting. So, welcome. Today is May the 30th, and I'd like to welcome you to our Akron Rotary Club. And we have a very special meeting today. I'm delighted to see Michelle Wilson from Global Ties, and over the last couple of years, I've had the privilege of getting to know her, and then her brother is here, Don Obermeyer, and many of you already know Don, and I don't know, your parents, I don't know, must have been really incredible people, because the two of you are out to change the world and doing a really fine job of it, so it's a pleasure to have you with us. If you would join me, I'd like us to stand, and I'd like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, well, thank you. And I would like to invite at this time our dear Rima to come and to lead us in our invocation.
Okay. As our family was enjoying this holiday weekend, barbecues, we had a couple of weddings, and kids at home, I began to reflect on the true meaning of Memorial Day. Remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving our country, the freedoms we enjoy. Perhaps I have a unique lens of appreciation for their sacrifice, for I never take our freedom for granted. I was born in Lebanon to a minority Druze religion, not one of the top two religions in Lebanon. I'm not Christian and I'm not Muslim. My family was very well off and we had no intentions of leaving. But during the Civil War, my parents, along with my three younger siblings, immigrated to the US in 1982. I was about 12 years old. 40 years later, I still remember the terror we lived during the last year living in Lebanon. The Civil War was horrific, and it was grounded in religious intolerance, and people were simply targeted and killed solely based on their religious beliefs. The Lebanese have their religion printed on their IDs, so everywhere you went, that's how you were identified. And so, you know, it's very important for me that we do enjoy the many blessings we have here as a nation. Things have changed a lot in Lebanon, but things are still not as good as it could be. And I know that, you know, we will never forget the price of freedom that our men and women have paid. Let us always honor and live in gratitude for their ultimate sacrifice paid for our nation. If you can pray. You can bow your heads down. Dear God, as our nation, we pause to remember those in the military who have given their lives for the freedoms we enjoy. Let us not take these for granted. We remember the cost of it all, the great sacrifices for freedom. We thank you for the brave men and women who have fought and continue to fight so courageously for our nation, and especially remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We ask that you bless them and the families and give with peace and comfort. We pray that you always look for you for strength, comfort, and guidance. We ask that you always honor them by living their lives, our lives, that are worthy of their sacrifice. May we never forget the cost of our freedom. We pray that we stay focused as Rotarians to reaffirm our commitments to service above self and the Rotary four-way test. May we use your individual, may you use our individual unique strengths, our dreams, our backgrounds, our occupations, to mobilize Rotary for the common good. We give thanks for all your blessings, opportunities, and responsibilities that befall us as Rotarians. Bless our club and help us to serve with kindness. Amen. Just wanted to see if we have any visitors today.
Don, why don't you stand up?
Don, why don't you stand up? Thank you so much, Don, for coming. And of course, you know, Don is Michelle's brother, so we're grateful to have you. He's a Rotarian from Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm not a member of the Cleveland anymore, but I'm the national chair of the East Metro program, so I was here to speak about East Metro.
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
You know, it's interesting, and maybe it has to do with aging, but for whatever reason, I found myself this Memorial Day reflecting on families that did pay the ultimate price with losing sons and daughters. And it's very sobering if you think about it, that and Rima even sharing, you know, from the standpoint of growing up in Lebanon and what they had to go through during the Civil War there. Freedom is really I don't know, it's a sacred honor, I guess we could say. And when you think of men and women paying the ultimate price, it just is rather humbling for what each of us is able to partake of on a daily basis. So thank you, Rima. That was very, I don't know, thought-provoking, as it were. I wanted to say that today, as we're meeting halfway around the world, President Linda is in Australia, and so is soon-to-be District Governor Julie Brandel for the International Rotary Gathering. And so I imagine they're having a good time. Does anybody know what's the time difference between here and Australia? Anybody have any idea? Is it like 12 hours or something? Is it at least a day?
No, it's like 20 hours.
20? Wow. Okay. So I think they're going to be there 7 to 9 days or something of that matter. But I believe that Linda will be joining us next week. Do we happen to have in the room any Rotary ambassadors over this last week? Okay. Anybody online that's a Rotary ambassador?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, thank you, Terry. Well, let's move on. Is anyone happy today? And if we could, come on now, we can't be so glum. Is anybody happy today? Michelle? All right, and I was wondering, John, would you be willing to collect dollars for us? Oh, all right, well, thank you.
So I'm happy today to see our friend Stella from Rotary here, because I just spent time in Morocco with one of the only organizations that is really working hard to Morocco, to Africa, to build programs for kids with physical challenges and disabilities. And it just makes me truly appreciate all the programs that we have, such as Rotary Camp for inclusion in our own community. So, so I'm pretty happy to have our Rotary Camp here in Akron.
Thank you, thank you.
Are you happy today?
I
know you've got your wallet out.
I'm happy, number one, to see the rearrangement, so now we can see the screens.
Yeah.
Very good, and so other than that, I'm just happy to be here, happy to have our new members here, John, who I met behind me, and,
Free.
yeah,
That was pretty.
all right.
All right, John.
Have a happy dollar. Just want to remind everybody, June 28th is fourth Wednesday in June, and we'll be doing the Akron Food Bank. And if you can make it, I'll be sending out an email at the end of the week here for sign up. So 4:30, 6:30, and it's always something different and fun. So hopefully then we'll go out to dinner afterwards. Just pick a place downtown. Thank you.
Stu was frowning today, so I'm gonna leave him alone.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to have Michelle here today. Extremely happy we have a cook.
Oh, wonderful.
Again, was able to hire a cook last minute. She started this morning. I've not met her yet. So hopefully, keep fingers crossed that goes well. And our staff this evening is doing our camp counselors this evening are doing a staff auction where they are going to raise money for kids to go to camp. So I think that's pretty amazing of our counselors to do that.
Ma'am, $2
Well, you just have to understand my situation. My handyman has been on hand. My handyman has been out of town or out of touch. So I have outside my alligator, my moose, and my giraffe. And you just have to know what my yard is to appreciate it. I took them all out.
All right. Anyone else? Well, I'm going to add one happy dollar, and I'm going to ask for a favor for this happy dollar. And that is, within a few days, I will become Julie's vice governor. So her well-being, physical health, mental health, and all that becomes critical. So if all of you would keep a close eye on her at all times, I would be grateful.
I also have two happy dollars, and thank you for standing in to assist, not just me today, but also to assist Julie. And I do want to comment on what he shared there, because a couple of times in preparation for Julie becoming our district governor, I have personally gone to her and said those very words. And no one other than like Stu, with having served in that capacity, and of course we know that Jack Herrig and then John most recently, serving as president, there's a lot of responsibility, as we know, but serving as district governor, you can amp that up quite a bit. And so I know that we're caring, praying people, and I would encourage us to do that for her and to look out for her, because she and her husband also run a very busy business. And so this is not going to be an easy year. So thank you for making those comments.
Well, there will be opportunities to help at a variety of levels this year, and please feel free to step up because that will be appreciated.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
So I know that we also have a number of other announcements, and David, thank you for reminding us about the food bank. David, do you have anything to share, David Milk?
No, we'll be doing, I'll work with Dave. I know he said pick a restaurant. We'll find one so I can communicate out.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Knauer, anything that we need an update regarding membership?
We have a couple people in the pipeline, and they're just waiting for some confirmation from their employers, so these are scheduled with cutting up today.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Casarco, our time is approaching for Dragon Boat, and all of that. Do you have anything to share to just update us?
We're just looking for people who are willing to have.
Okay, and how are you doing so far with putting together a team?
It's small, but it's early.
Okay, small but early. So if any of you online and any of you here want to participate, it's a great experience. My wife participated last year and really had a wonderful time. I think she's going to try and do that again this year as well. Let's see. Oh, I've been asked, just as a friendly reminder, we're starting our new Rotary year very quickly, and Mr. Knauer is going to be stepping into the presidency and going to be quite busy. But just as a friendly reminder, if you have not paid your annual dues, they are due I believe by June the 1st. But if you haven't done that, it would be great if you could tend to that. All right, and then let me see. One last thing that Terry has been assisting us with, and Linda as well, is the A.Z. Baker Award, which is a service award that we collectively as a club do. And what's wonderful about our Rotary Club is we put our toes and our feet into so many different areas of service. So if you, as an individual Rotarian, have served in any of the capacities of involvement, let's say with the food bank or out at the camp or other places, please fill out that form and send it in, because it's a nice award to get as a club. So, and then I was asked to share about soles, like from your shoes, for Soul, which is to give shoes that are in relatively good care and good shape, because we're collecting those to hand out to needy folk. And then that's basically about it. And at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for our speaker to come out. Does anyone else have any news or announcements that they would like to make? Doug?
Speaking of camp and fundraisers and that sort of thing, mark your calendar now for August 26th, is cornhole.
August 26th.
Yeah, we scheduled it purposely not to conflict with the dragon boats.
Okay.
So we expect all the dragon boaters to show up.
Oh.
So Doug, for those of you online, Doug was saying that August 26th for the cornhole tournament out at the camp, and they picked that date specifically so that it would not interfere with the dragon boats. So when, does that normally start like at 9 in the morning? Okay, 9 o'clock, all right. Anyone else on any other announcements? Does anybody have a good joke they'd like to tell? Don? Here, hey, Don, let me give you this microphone so everyone can hear.
Thank you. So I did speak about the ACE mentor program here last year. And for any of you that are not aware of it, we go into high schools and we mentor students to consider careers in architecture, construction, and engineering. So we had our banquet in April, and we were able to award $18,000 scholarships to students from Akron and Canton schools. We are planning our fall luncheon, our fundraising luncheon, September 14th. It's going to be catered by Tangier at their other facility, Our Lady of Cedars, or on Cleveland Maslin Road. If I can remember everyone's involved in it right now, we have our panel is, we've asked the presumed mayor, Shamus Malik, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be speaking for our panel. Mike Crawford from the Hall of Fame, Ren Camacho from the Akron Canton Airport, Bryce Sylvester or Bill Kohler from Team NEO, and Katie, I can't remember her last name, Breck, she's with Insight. She used to be with the City of Akron Economic Development. So it's going to be a very good fundraising event. We have Spencer Levy with CBRE, who's a national or global economic leader who speaks on CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, whenever they need from somebody from that realm, he speaks there too. So we have a really good moderator coming in. So I told Steve I would get information to Akron Rotary when we get the final details.
Do we know what day the 14th is?
September 14th is, it's either a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
She's coming.
All right. Well, at this time, I want to call Ms. Jerry Kiefer up so she can introduce Michelle. I do want to say one thing in addition regarding Michelle, and God bless you, dear. And what happened?
I will know more this afternoon when I go to the podiatrist, but I think I have a stress fracture in my heel.
Oh my, wow. Well, bless you. So Michelle does not really allow any grass to grow underneath her feet, as it were, no pun intended. But my family had the opportunity in being involved with Global Ties a little over a year ago, just about a year ago, when they brought in 5 Ukrainian doctors to help burn victims back in Ukraine as a result of the war. And we were privileged to have one of those doctors stay in our home for a week. And so we were involved in some of the events that Global Ties was doing. And I must say, I was really thoroughly impressed with the spirit of excellence by how you conducted everything you did. And I say that only because, having lived in Ukraine back in 1995 for a year with my wife, and then coming back to Akron. My wife and I were privileged to take about 120 people through like a 12-year period of time to Ukraine, and did a number of things, but this isn't about that. But anyhow, there's a lot of planning and preparation in order to have things run smoothly. And I was really tremendously impressed with the high quality, and your staff. They do things for the right reasons. They love what they do, and they love the people they serve. So my compliments to you and Global Ties. And Miss Jerry, I'm going to hand it to you, dear.
Michelle has served as the Executive Director of Global Ties Akron for the past 20 years. She has been with the organization for over 30 years as a volunteer, board member, and program officer. Through the programs of Global Ties Akron, Michelle leads the organization and coordinates community professional visits of leaders from around the world participating in the International Visitor Leadership Program administered by the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs of the U.S. Department of State, and the Open World Leadership Program sponsored by the Congressional Office of International Leadership. She has built bridges to support ongoing initiatives between international leaders and Greater Akron, Ohio. Michelle has also created several education initiatives, including the online magazine focused on preserving the cultural heritage and traditions of refugee and immigrant populations. And she launched the Know Your Community, Know Your World Global Education Initiative. Michelle serves as an Ohio representative to the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition and is on the board of Himalayan Arts, Language and Cultural Academy. She is also an origami artist and social entrepreneur who runs Global Ties Akron's Global Threads Boutique to empower local and global artisans and fund education programs. Michelle?
So you rather sit?
No, I'm good standing. Let me get myself set up here for the presentation. It'll just take me one
No,
moment
you're fine.
here.
I'm going to move this so it's toward you there.
Okay.
And if perchance you need.
Yeah, I'll come over and move on there. Okay, we're getting there. It is not finding my presentation on my screen for some reason. I might need some tech help here. Okay, I have it up on the screen, but it's not finding.
So you just want to go ahead and share everything on Zoom?
So I'll let you take over that. Yep. For those online, we're working on a little tech challenge, so we'll be with you in a second.
That's what you mean, it's not finding.
Ah, there we go.
I'll try and get this so you can see. There you go.
All right, I'll move that a little closer here. Oh, it's there now. Okay, good. All right. We're good. Use this.
Sorry for the delay there. As was already mentioned, I'm Michelle Wilson, Executive Director with Global Ties Akron. I want to thank you so much for the welcome, fellow Rotarians that are joining us in person and those that are joining online. It is such a pleasure to be with you today. I just came back from Morocco on Sunday morning, so no jet lag yet, which is surprising, so maybe tomorrow. Well, I'm here to tell you a little bit about my experience with Global Ties Akron, but also I want to share a little bit about what we do beyond what we are charged to do with our international exchanges that we host. So I'll start a little bit with what we do with the U.S. Department of State International Leadership Program and with the U.S. Congress Open World Leadership Program, and then I will share some of the other exchanges we have done, our educational programs, and how we are just a little bit extra special because we take it beyond that, and we build bridges between Akron and the world that really enhance our own community and enhance communities around the world. So moving right along.
Michelle?
Yes.
Can you speak a little away from the microphone? You're getting vibration.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, or just move the microphone a little bit.
Okay. All right. Let me know if it still is vibrating.
Okay.
All right. Global Ties Akron programs link people and nations to Greater Akron through professional, educational, and cultural exchange. We build international bridges between our community and the world. And we provide opportunities for cross-cultural exchange, city, university, business partnerships, economic opportunities, and educational initiatives. We are welcoming, engaging, and connecting. This is hard to read, but I have the sheets in front of you that if you look at the back of it, it shows when we go to DC, we market our community to our colleagues at our program agencies and at the State Department to share with them all of the strengths that we have professionally, culturally with our nonprofits, with Akron's strong points and the region's strong points, so that they realize that Akron is really very, very knowledgeable and strong in many resource areas. So we've hosted delegations on many topics. One of the hottest right now is on cybersecurity, but we've had many that have come here on disability issues, on higher education, on STEM issues, many on entrepreneurship, women's entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. The topics that are on the back there, you'll see many of them. A lot of them are on all aspects of inclusion. So, you know, it's really something that we end up learning constantly because each program that we do is customized to the individual group coming, and how can we best accommodate what their challenges are in their own countries and communities, and how can we match in our own community what can best accommodate the dialogue and the conversation and the resources that they are looking for. So we end up also being conveners in our own community, and we find that oftentimes some of the organizations that we bring together in our own community may not be familiar with one another. So it's a privilege for us to also be conveners as well. And this here also has pictures of just in 2022, the groups that we brought together in our community. I want to tell you a story. When we bring groups in on international leadership exchanges, we don't set them up in a meeting room and have someone from our community be a lecturer. We don't believe in that. We don't believe that we're here to share our knowledge. We believe that this should be truly an exchange two ways. It should be interactive. It should be engaging. So in this case, we had doctors that were here, and they were looking at, in Oman, the challenge that they were facing with childhood obesity and diabetes and other health issues. So in this case, the students at one of our elementary schools became the educators. The students were so excited to welcome the doctors to their school that when you entered the school building, they had created signs in Arabic to welcome the doctors. They were tour guides and took the doctors by hand, joyfully welcoming them to our Akron school. They took them around the school and showed them how they were learning about healthy learning, healthy eating, healthy cooking, exercise, and then took them to their classroom. And the students each had a role to welcome the doctors to their school. And they spoke to them about what they were learning from the American Heart Association, took them to their gardens where they were growing their own food, and showed them their cafeteria where they were helping make their own lunches. And then brought them back to the classroom. We had a little project where they each planted a little garden to take home with them. But this is what we like to do. We want to make it super engaging, where everyone has a memorable experience, but truly it is interactive. And the doctors also shared with them the challenges that were faced back home in their country, where it became to the point where in Oman, many of the young people were ordering fast food that was delivered to their door, and really were to the point where they weren't doing it much for themselves. They weren't exercising. They weren't really familiar with what was in the food that they were eating. So they really appreciated the students, what they shared with the doctors. Now I want to talk about why I ended up in Morocco this past week. The gentleman you see in the pictures here is Amin Zaryat. Amin Zaryat is so beloved by the U.S. Department of State that they welcomed him here to the U.S. twice on an international exchange. And he was considered, when they had their 80th anniversary, one of the top all-time 80 years of leaders that has been brought to the U.S. State Department for that really highly regarded exchange program. And that was up there with Margaret Thatcher and Anwar Sadat. He is so impressive, and he invited myself and representatives from Adaptive Sports Ohio to Morocco for the summit that he was hosting this past week. We met ambassadors, we met delegates that were from all over Africa, we met members of UNESCO, and from other organizations throughout the world that are using sports as an opportunity for conflict resolution, for peace building, for youth health, for entrepreneurship, and really working on ways to help build communities and work on UN Sustainable Development Goals through sports. He also was an envoy with the United Nations and was invited to the United Nations for their World Sports and Engagement for Sustainable Development this past April. So I brought him back here in April also, and he met with representatives from the LeBron James Family Foundation, Football Hall of Fame, and other organizations that were discussing ongoing connections that we're building. As you can see the sheet that's in front of you, with Adaptive Sports Ohio, Global Ties Akron, and Tibu Morocco, which is also becoming now Tibu Africa. His hope and dream is to expand his program throughout the whole continent and train trainers and train coaches to do what he's doing in countries throughout the continent. And he is so determined that he will do it. His dream also is to have a partnership with the I Promise School here in Akron. So we're working on nurturing that. And Willie McGee, who is one of LeBron James's closest friends, who's now the coach at the I Promise School, met him. And we're hopefully he'll be traveling there in November. So that's the hopefully beginning of that discussion. So Ohio Adaptive Sports traveled with me. They're the ones at the bottom in the wheelchair basketball seats. And we really worked on that partnership already. And there's already some things in the works. Varsity Sports Ohio will be traveling there in August to lay the groundwork for a team from Northeast Ohio of 13-year-olds to go to Morocco in 2024 to join Moroccan youth for basketball camp. So we're already planting seeds for this to grow. So you can see here, this is me with myself at the Football Hall of Fame. They also discussed some possibilities there for sharing best practices in education, STEM, and sports. Okay, the Open World Leadership Program. This is what Steve had mentioned, that he hosted doctors, and this is a program we've been doing for many years. And similar to the International Visitor Leadership Program, this is some of the doctors. I think this is the group that you helped host, Steve, that were burn surgeons. Did you do burn or trauma?
No, we had burn.
You had burn surgeons. This is the group of burn surgeons. So just to mention, this was happening during the war. They came here. We learned, the doctors that met with them from Akron Children's Hospital, from Metro Health, from SUMA, from Cleveland Clinic, learned a lot from them as well. They're cutting edge right now because of the unfortunate situation happening in Ukraine on trauma when it comes to care for burn and lost limbs. When they left here at the airport, this is their suitcase full of free supplies, and equipment to take back with them. And they connected with doctors here. One of the doctors is in touch with them almost every Sunday, just to give them moral support and to check in on them. And there's also been other equipment sent over already to help them out. But we are in touch with other ones of the groups that have been here from Ukraine as well. And just to try to see what we can do, and praying for the situation to end as quickly as possible. So education is always the key. And that's what we also talked about with TBU, and we've talked with so many other groups that have been here in our community. Sorry. So Know Your Community, Know Your World is a free resource that we've created online, and it helps to take materials that have been created by so many international students and scholars and refugees that we've connected with that share primary resources about their countries and cultures that anyone can go on and use. It was used actually quite a bit during COVID as people found it online from around the world and went onto the site. And then another program that we were able to connect with globally was through IREX Community Solutions, and we connected the Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio with Girl Guides of Ghana, and did a program that actually connected back to my mom, because my mom, as my brother will attest to, always said, look at the world through rose-colored glasses. And it's about, you know, when things are gray in life, there's always a different perspective. And we were asked as our organization by the Akron Public Schools, when they had a challenging situation in one of the schools, if we would step in and provide some resources and some training to help the students to see beyond themselves. So we did, we created a program that I called Look at the World Through Rose-Colored Glasses, just to help them see things from a different perspective. And we did the same with the Girl Scouts and the Girl Guides. And the picture with the Girl Scouts in Northeast Ohio, they're with a group we had in town from Ukraine that were working with internally displaced persons before the war, because they were working with those that had been forced out of Croatia. And, or not Croatia, excuse me. Yeah, now I guess that the jet lag is setting in from the southern part of Ukraine. Crimea, thank you, from Crimea. And so the group here connected them with youth their age that were in refugee camps. So they had a direct conversation immediately and shared their love of music and arts. And so that was amazing. And then they also directed, it was on World Thinking Day, connected directly with the young women in Africa too, in Ghana. So these are the kind of things we do that go beyond the initial exchange. This is also in Ghana. We connected with the artist in Ghana and made a really close connection with one of the artists that we have her items that are being sold in our store in Northside Marketplace at our Global Threads fair trade store. And that meeting, when I was there, we met their newly established Minister of the Arts. He was so impressed with the Arts Expo that was put together in our honor, and part of that was because when Abdul Salam, who came here for 3 months and worked with our organization, met Don Drum and met other artists in Akron, he loved what our community was doing and wanted the same for the Zongo Cultural Group in Ghana. So he put together this expo and invited the Minister of the Arts. Well, because of what he did and because of our visit, that created Zongo Fest that is ongoing now. And it's a whole festival that honors the cultural arts in Akron. So those little seeds planted can grow into something amazing. And that happened because he was in Akron, Ohio. And now I can't leave this without talking about Rotary Camp. We have brought groups from all over the world to Rotary Camp. These are just a few of the more recent ones from Kirk Republic, from Russia, from France, and this picture here is from Turkey. And again, those seeds are planted, and the individuals that visit Rotary Camp take those home. They're always so impressed, especially with the autism room, with the interaction that the students have with pets, with the ability to be able to come together with other students and have so many opportunities to go out on the lake, be outdoors, and just have time to be kids, and the opportunities for parents to have respite. So that's why I'm so happy that Mela is here. She's here in the picture here, but I can't even count the number of times that we've had our groups come to Rotary Camp over the years. So that's what I have. Thank you so much. It is a privilege to have Global Ties Akron here. We're one of about 80 organizations across the country. I do have to say that this is a very challenging year ahead for us. And I do ask, like, if you have suggestions for our organization, we definitely welcome them. I myself am going to be semi-retiring, so we'll be doing a search this year for executive director and for funds. We have a lot of deep hearts in our organization, but not so much deep funding. So yeah, just because of some health issues, I need to move to a part-time rather than full-time. So yeah, so if you have any suggestions for us, please let our Vice President Rena know. She's on our board, and Doug's on our board, and Susan Coble-Hall is a previous board member. So we never shy from challenges, and we are sure that our organization of 46 years is going to, 47 years will continue, but it will be a challenging year. So thank you. Yes.
That's great, thank you very much. Just have a, how your function, settlement coming to the area, or it's more about
educational exchanges and cultural exchanges, and most folks who come want to go back to their native countries.
So we are not the resettlement organization. Our connection with the refugees and immigrants is more so the educational component, like you had mentioned. I happen to be on the board of Himalayan Music and Arts and Language, and we've done some programs with the president of that organization, where I actually took him on an exchange. He was part of the development of Global Threads magazine. In that magazine, we feature the cultural heritage of our refugee and immigrants to help the community to know and value what the communities bring to our community, and that how important it is to not just try to acculturate those that come from around the world to Akron, Ohio, not to make them, you know, Akronites only, and not that we should value the richness of their cultures and their heritage. So we don't resettle. We do work with the communities that are here, but most of our programs are that international exchange where leaders are coming here and then they're going back to their countries. So, but we work with the International Institute, we work with Asian Services in Action, Inc., and do some collective things with them in the community at times too. So, thank you.
So as far as support goes for Global Ties, major foundations here in Akron, GAR, Akron Community Foundation, John S. Knight and such, are you seeing support from these organizations or similar organizations?
We've had ongoing support from Akron Community Foundation. The other organizations, we are going to go back to them, but we've not fit into niches that the organizations all have specific areas that they fund, and we have not easily fit into some of those categories. But now I think that with the impact that we can show that we've been doing in the educational area, that we will retry and see, because GAR certainly we should fit in that niche, but we had been denied in the past, that they told us we didn't fit. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Don't feel alone, Michelle.
What?
Don't feel alone.
Yeah, I know. It's challenging. It really is. There's so many nonprofits in this community, and you get denied, even though you know that what you're doing is worthwhile and needs funding, many times you get denied.
Well, I know President Linda, even though she's not online right now, whatever time it is in Australia, would thank you with our Rotary Imagine coin, which she has set up for every speaker. So here is our Rotary Imagine coin for you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right, well, we have one other final thing. That we're gonna have David Hall have you pick for our drawing today is one card out of a deck of cards. We'll let her get seated if you're all right. And last week, of course, our beloved Jim Redmond won the poll and donated that money back towards Ukraine and the fine work that Rotary International is doing there.
All right, so get out your tickets. Our winner for today is 219528. 528. Cindy,
All right, Cindy.
Spread out the cards, or you're looking for the Joker. Four spades.
All right. Well, thank you. Mr. Doug.
For those who are curious, it is now 2:54 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia.
2:54 a.m. in Melbourne. I think they're sleeping. What do you think? Just in closing today, there's the old adage that a prophet is not rightly received and honored in their own city or their own village. And I would just simply tell you, by having the opportunity to get to know Michelle and experiencing Global Ties, I would just simply say we are richly, I mean richly blessed in Akron, Ohio, to have had Michelle as executive director. And we hope and pray for the next person that will follow behind you, but those will be very big shoes to fill. And I'm pleased to find out that Rima is on your board and vice president, and that Doug and that Susan Colwell Hall. We are amazingly blessed as a club. I think if we look around and we see who we are and who our membership is, I feel honored because I feel that you are my tribe, and we have quite a tribe in that we take a serious look at being change agents in our city, throughout our state, and even in the world. And your comments about our camp, come on. Our camp is second to none in the entire country. There isn't another Rotary Club in all of the United States that has anything that approaches our Rotary camp. And I'm not saying that we're better than anybody, but what I'm saying is what a credit to the work of men and women in Akron, Ohio. And there's something special here, and I've said it for a long time. You take a look at the DNA that resides in our city. Let's look at Alcoholics Anonymous. It started in Akron, Ohio. It has gone to the world, and continues to touch and change lives. And so there's something special we have. Global Ties is no small little organization. And so we hope and pray for the success of what you need financially, and also for the next leader to lead your organization. So with that, thank you so much. That was encouraging. And the gentleman you spoke of from Morocco, wow. Look forward to seeing him back in Northeast Ohio, and seeing our new coach, Coach McGee, having the opportunity to go to Morocco from the I Promise School. So wonderful days ahead for us people in so many different ways. And so I want to say thank you. And with that, God bless you and have a good end to your day.